Is there a translator? You're the only person wearing headphones. No, I don't need them.
Già parlando. Sta. The voice can. Yes.
Yes, okay. I want them to be able to understand me. Do you understand?
Sentiamo tutti quanti il microfono.
Many people now.
Well, I shall speak very slowly. When I was listening to the speakers here, I understand only a tiny little bit of Italian, but I hear the same story that these speakers have told in every country and in nearly every art school. And that story is really, we haven't got enough money. But what that story really means is they don't take us seriously. They don't understand what the use of art is, what the purpose, what the function is. And I think that's true. But I think also we artists must take some responsibility for this, because we don't explain ourselves very well. Does anyone understand what I'm saying? Oh, good. Thank you. I can talk even more slowly.
No, cerchiamo.
Sì, ma noi no.
Se volete ci fermiamo un istante, facciamo passare le, non lo so, ma perché per prendere le cuffie ci vuole un documento. Ho fatto avvisare tutti quelli che entravano.
Perché capiamo tutto.
Ne vedo parecchi invece. Si vede che tanti sanno l'inglese. Io se rinasco lo imparo subito.
Okay. Many years ago, during the time of Margaret Thatcher, who was our version of Silvio Berlusconi, during those times the government kept reducing the money for the art schools because they thought art isn't important, science and technology and defense, those are important, but art isn't important. And they kept cutting down the money for the art schools. So I helped to make a study of the value of art schools. We have a lot of them in England. And of course people who come out of art schools don't only become painters or sculptors. They become graphic designers, textile designers, product designers, industrial designers. They become teachers. They become musicians, very often the case in England. There are all sorts of people that come out of art schools. And I calculated that as a system of education, the art school is probably more efficient than any other in terms of creating income for a country, creating money in a country. So I think in economic terms, you can justify the existence of buildings like this, of institutions like this. I think, however, that the real justification is of a different nature. And it's to do with imagination. Does anyone still understand me? Okay, thank you. It's very difficult. No, I'm sorry I don't speak your language. It would be much easier if I could. There's one thing that distinguishes humans from all of the other creatures on the planet, and as far as we know, is unique to human beings in the whole universe. And that is our ability to imagine. What makes humans different from everything else that we know is that we can imagine a future that doesn't yet exist. We can imagine another situation. We can think of a piece of technology or a play or a prayer that nobody has yet thought of. So we can constantly make new realities in our minds. And then we can live in those realities. We can create them and we can experience them. Other animals don't do that. And we call that gift, the gift of imagination. When a society loses its respect for the gift of imagination, that society has actually stopped developing, stopped progressing. And I think what happens whenever you get particularly right-wing governments saying, well, art isn't very important, it doesn't really matter, we'll stop putting money into the arts. What they're really doing is saying, we have stopped imagining, we've stopped thinking about the future. And so I think whenever you see a government doing this, you see the beginning of the end of society. The act of imagination is the thing that makes us human and that makes us capable of thinking of better futures, thinking of the world in a new and different way. As soon as we stop... Yes, thanks, Gabrielle. As soon as we stop doing that, then the graph points down. Unfortunately, at the moment the graph is pointing down in Italy. What it requires is for you and for people like you to start trying to convince the population and the government in particular why this is important, why it exists, why it's important. You can't just do that historically. You can't just say, well, Venice has always been a wonderful place where the arts have developed. You have to do it in terms of the future. You have to say, for our future to be secure, for the future of our imagination to be secure, we need to support places like this. This is not only a tradition, it's not only 258 years of tradition, it's actually our hope for how we can think in the future. But you have to present that argument. A government isn't going to present it. Nobody else will do it. So I'm afraid to say that artists have to stop thinking that the world owes them a living. Does everyone understand that phrase?
Yeah.
We have to stop thinking that. We have to start trying to convince the world that that is true. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on a political level. I don't know, shall I talk about my work? What shall I talk about? What would you like me to talk about?
Solo che io rispondo in italiano e non c'è il ritorno. Allora,